When was the last time something happened to you and you were thinking about it moments before it happened? Have you noticed that as you start to eat more raw, living fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, that this started happening to you more often? I sure did. It was one of the most exciting things about joining the Raw Food Heroes journey, where you start bumping up your biophotons, that Spidey Sense, which is what allows you to have these type of synchronicities. And the purpose of this video is to open up the comments section for you guys out there to share some of the synchronicities that you've experienced since embracing this journey. I've mentioned quite a few of mine in the past, and it's really quite interesting how it happens. I get feedback from my students all the time and my friends, and they say I'll be thinking of someone, and then they call them. And of course, this reminds me of the great book, The Celestine Prophecy. I've talked about this book before. And it came out around the time I found this information. And it was all about the fact that people were noticing that there are more coincidences in their life, that it's something happening. And it was so fun to go around and see people who had read that book. It sold 600,000 copies in the first 3 months, I believe it was. And without being promoted, it was all word of mouth. And the book really caught on quite a bit. And it said that, that the people who come into your life are supposed to be your teachers. And that you just got to be able to identify them and recognize them when you see them. So what happened is, if you went to certain places, especially, you would notice this. If you went to the general public, not so, but if you go to a place like Whole Foods, for example, you can look around and you can kind of see people walking around trying to find someone to come into their life and teach them something. And I used to always love to go up to them and go, "You've read the Celestine Prophecy, haven't you?" And they go, "Yeah, how'd you know?" Because I can see you're looking out there. You're out there looking for someone. Indeed, that's how it works, doesn't it? When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I find that to be true in many cases with myself when I'm out and about and I find someone eager for this information. And of course, that doesn't stop me from planting seeds wherever I go, because I understand that most people aren't ready for this message. But I always love trying to find different ways to say it to different types of people, just to kind of get reactions from them. And you can pretty much tell if they're ready for it or not. You can almost see their brain shut right off. In fact, you can, in many cases, if they're not receptive to this. So what you want to find are people that are more receptive, that are noticing these type of coincidences in their life. So again, what I want you guys to do is share your experiences. I'll give you a few examples. I remember going to a friend's house. I shared this story before. He had moved in with this new girl, and they had some books, and I went over there and grabbed a book. I grabbed their book and opened up the very first page I read. First words I read on the first page I opened up was, "And food that fire had not polluted." I've been walking down the mall, seeing books, go in there and open up a book, and it says, open it up, big old 900-page book, and a few doctors there done to mind their income by spreading knowledge of preventive medicine. I've shared those stories before. This is what happens to you. You're watching TV and they're saying, this thing right here, no telling what someone's doing with it right now. And I go, I got this right now and I'm doing something with it. I never forget one day I was walking down the stairs with my bicycle and I said, "God darn, what's that girl's name again?" I hadn't seen her in 10 years. Used to teach aerobics with her. And it just popped in my mind, and I was biking to the store. I go down to the store, and there she was, and I'd never seen her at that store before. It wasn't like, oh, I always see her at the store. I'd never seen her at that store before. And yet, there she was. She showed up 10 minutes later. I get my students saying, you know, I thought of 3 people this morning, and within an hour, all 3 of them called me, and it's all unrelated, and it's just too coincidental. Again, this is what happens when our biophotons start rising. And this is a hard thing to explain. It's just too esoteric. It's something you have to experience. There's something wrong with us, my friends, and I know what it is. Deep down, there's something wrong that we don't feel this oneness with everyone. You feel things so much more, and especially with things that aren't corrupted like humans. I feel much better with plants than I do people, because most of them are disconnected. That's why I'm so passionate about the hero's journey. I want to see what it's like in my lifetime, what it's going to be like when I'm excited to be around a bunch of people with our biophotons elevated so that we feel one and we can kind of move around like fish and make designs. You know, that's how they explain that now. How are these fish communicating? How can they, a bunch of them look like they're a big fish and scare off these other bigger fish? How are they communicating? It's biophotons. It's their sixth sense. It's their Spidey Sense. It's what allows us to have these type of synchronicities in our life. Once you understand this concept, life is such an exciting journey because you realize that people do come into your life for a reason. Sure, a lot of them aren't going to be ready for you. But man, there's a lot of them that need you out there. You're going to be their savior in a way. You're going to be the one that helps them with their suffering. Because it's real easy to get tricked and not focus on what we're doing. It's real easy. There's so many belief systems that throw you back up into the first stage or throw you to the third stage. Do everything they can to keep you from looking at what you are doing specifically that you have to correct. That's what we have to do. 3 stages of knowledge. Don't get lost in any stage other than the one we have to be in to turn the hell back around. Doesn't matter thoughts or anything else. That's not what we need to look at in the first stage. We got to look at the knowledge we're missing. Most of us don't know how to live, so we're destroying these biophotons, and we have no synchronicity in our life at all. We don't have any type of these occurrences that we can get excited about. I guarantee you, my friends, when you do it, you'll notice an improvement. It's exciting, and if you just imagine what it'd be like if everyone could bump up their biophotons, and then the synchronicity, what would happen if a whole bunch of people would devote energy to thoughts and ideas? Man, don't you know that would be unbelievable? What's his name? John Hagee? Remember him? He ran for the United States presidency a decade or so ago. I voted for him. PhD in quantum physics. The only one qualified in my book at that time to run the country. He understood the diet connection. And of course, he did an experiment where they had a bunch of people meditating in Washington, D.C., and they were able to reduce the crime rate through their thoughts. I know how powerful thoughts are. And I know how powerful we could be if we could all correct the fall of mankind, bump up our biophotons, put a lot of energy in making this world a better place, and I guarantee you, we'd all be in for a treat.